That's funny.
And what I did is I comp it around the kit
around the kit and give it voicing through the shuffle. So instead of worrying about tempo or how fast or slow it is, we do actually increase the speed a little bit. If you watch some of the older cats, the greater drummers, it wasn't always about just marking time. And it wasn't always about how many fills you can do, but it was about how you could comp something, how you could play around the kit and get excited with playing the voice of the kit. So a lot of times, if you watch some of the older cats that did double bassing and drumming, they would get a good double bass pattern going with tempos, but they would kind of increase their speed as they're building the solo up. And it built a little anticipation for a climax or an ending or a break. So don't ever think that it's uncool to speed up if you're playing drums. It's okay to do it, and sometimes in certain music, believe it or not, it's required where they want you to start pulling the beat faster. So don't ever think that you've just begun with metronome and you have to start over again. It doesn't matter. If you can play, you can keep a little bit of time for a few measures, that's good. But sometimes increasing tempo, it builds a little bit of excitement for the listener or the viewers as musicians, not just as drummers. Guitar players, singers, and singers are the ones that like to do that. They like to help the crowd get excited about feeling a pull from the sound. If you break away from the standard, and all of a sudden you're creating a sense of haste, and they're not sure if there's a reason for it, or if it's something new, or something's fixing to happen, or they're going to do, believe it or not, people get excited when tempos speed up. If it's not expected or if it's intended. So don't ever think, and we're talking about drumming. We're not talking about anything else but drums and, music. But it is okay to do that. We're not talking about other aspects of life, but we're talking about drumming and music and comping drum solos or shuffles or double bassing. If you go back and you watch some of the greater drummers throughout the decades, not just recently. We're not talking about metalheads. We're not talking about punk rock. We're talking about real drummers. And I don't have to drop names. Just go look at my list of all the people I watch on YouTube, and you're like, oh, okay, we get what you're talking about. We understand. And to me, that's what's exciting, is when we have time to reflect on those who've left an outline of what makes it exciting for not only the player as they go from being amateur to intermediate to semi-professional to pro or absolutely a master. So at one point when you become someone that has more fun doing something that's simple as this, organic drumming can be a lot of fun. As much as we love programming and being digital creators, we can never ever forget where we come from, and that is we are human. My name is Human, and I exist through rhythm, sound, light, and of course energy. It takes a little bit more sometimes when we're human. For me to make something work or to connect something, sometimes isn't as complex as just organically playing around the kit and not relying on too much more than stick and instrument. And a lot of times if we don't own the tool to play, then we're not being as creative. But if we have all the tools to play, we own them, it's a lot of fun. And that's my deal. It's just trying to have fun with playing sometimes. And not always take it too seriously. But when I quit being seriously and have fun, it tends to be more rewarding when I go back and review the examples of what we're talking about. So the point being is, if you get bored, practice. If you get burned out, watch others. If you get to the point where you're like, hey, there's not much more I can learn, then it's time to actually practice again. But then sometimes it's time to take a rest or break and retool, clean up, and once we do all that, we feel the rewards of not only being disciplined with our playing, but educated. And part of that education is care and maintenance of our kits, our equipment, and our voice. We can't always be screaming or what's the other word? Repeating ourselves. Sometimes repeating ourselves gets old. So, through example, it's a lot easier said than done. Explaining it sometimes can be fun and eloquent, but being able to get the point across after you explain it is even greater. So a lot of times when we don't speak, it's because we're either lost for words or we want to get the idea across. But when we do speak, we have so much that we want to project musically that it's better to explain it than to try to emphasize it on drums when someone doesn't get the point through expression. So let's try to always, going into the fall, all the drummers that have retooled and gotten ready for their adventures, and then the new ones that have joined the ranks of drumming and music. They think that's all they're going to do is play drums. They're wrong. You'll be singing. You'll be probably having to tune guitars and teach them rhythms on guitars and basses, and how to actually wire stuff up correctly, and how you get to learn how to do it all when you're a drummer. So that's what's great about it. Don't give up. You may go in there and work with a drummer that's way beyond you. You may work with a drummer that didn't show you anything but how to hold your sticks. But by the time you get into playing again, you'll remember that guy was right or that girl was correct. Absolutely correct. And if I remember, now it's easier to do it because they showed me a few shortcuts to make it more fun. And you don't have to wear gloves. I do it because I don't want to tear my hands up. I don't want my wife going, ooh, gross, that bloody blisters on me. After a while, it's like, hey, if it turns the girls off sometimes, let's not do it. But if it's okay, if they're, oh, that's cute, I like a bloody hand. Okay, here, but if they don't, wear a fucking glove. It's real simple. But after a while, you learn it's not fun. My hand hurt for about 3 weeks after playing that one show, or practicing for 3 months and then busting my hands open right at the end because I didn't protect them. Might as well. Might as well. But that's another good example of not only making room on the computer, but making room for expression. Getting a point across through dynamics sometimes and through music is great, but also getting a point across through speech. A lot of us through the years have not been the greatest speakers or had the greatest grammar, especially living in an age where everything is such as the way it is. So when we get a chance to explain ourselves or share the idea, it's a lot more fun to realize, hey, I got the point across. Especially with Halloween's near, when we start getting all monster-fied and we really don't give a blooming heck anymore. We're excited about decorating for the holidays because dadgummit, it's already August. And by the time October gets here, we only have a few weeks left before November. So then we start setting up for, you guessed it, Saint Krampus and old Saint Nick. And then from there, then we have to get back to being normal. So let's try to get ready and get all the decorations ready for, you guessed it, Hallows Eve.